right, I am back again. I wanted to talk about social work because I am a licensed social worker, and so I thought it would be good to talk about the license exam. I did take the test, the new test that has the DSM-5 on it in September, and I took it and passed it on the first go. Yay! Because a lot of people don't. And that's not to say that they're not good social workers or they don't know how to be a social worker or anything like that. Because first and foremost, I personally do not believe that any test defines how smart you are or how competent you are to do anything. I mean, when I took the SAT to get into college, I think I had like a 990, and that was back when the highest score was a 1600 before they added the writing portion. And I didn't really let that get me down because I knew that that test didn't define me because I made straight A's basically all my life from elementary school to high school, with the exception of the occasional B every 5 years or something like that. But those tests don't define how smart you are or what you're capable of or anything like that. So I just want to throw that out there first and foremost. The license exam is hard. I'm not going to lie. This is honest convo. It is hard. And when I prepared for that exam, I was so nervous because I have at the time I had two friends who had taken the test twice and failed both times. And so both of them are smart. And, I was like, oh, wow, they failed twice. How am I going to do? And, that's probably not positive thinking, but it's realistic thinking. I was just like, oh, no. So I kind of went in with a kind of iffy mindset, but a realistic mindset. And so, when I went to grad school, we all shared material, old exams, well, not old exams, sorry, but old exam study material, just books, our textbooks, just anything that we all had, notes, everything like that. We all shared all of that stuff, and it was like so overwhelming, so much information, and it was like, where do you start? How do you study? What kind of routine do you have? How can I get a routine, a structure? How many hours should I study? What should I study? Like, should I pay for study material? Should I pay for practice exams? And it was just like, you want to pull your hair out. But, honestly, it's different for everybody. For me, what I did, I just studied every single thing that I had dealing with social work. And that probably was not the best thing to do. But, I mean, from the people that I knew who had already taken the test, they gave me books. They gave me printouts and things like that. But you just don't know. And, I mean, honestly, I didn't want to pay for a test. I didn't want to pay for any material. I didn't want to pay for any coaching or tutoring or anything like that because, for one, it's expensive, and I just did not want to do that. But I'm the kind of person that studies well by myself. I attempted to study with a partner, but it was kind of like we were kind of on different levels academically, and we had different study styles. So we didn't study well together, and it didn't last long. So I was really just studying by myself. So what I did was I took index cards, and I took all of my textbooks from grad school, all of my notes from all of my classes in grad school, and I just started making flashcards of all the content, substance abuse, the mental illnesses. If you took psychopathology in grad school, that book is great. But when I was in grad school, it was when we were still using the DSM-4, and then I didn't go ahead and take the test while I could still take the test with the DSM-4 material. So I had to learn DSM-5 material too. And so I made the flashcards. I highlighted all the theories. The theories, oh my gosh, the theories were so many theories, so many acronyms that you could use. You had the Piaget, Erickson, Kohlberg, all these people, and it was just so overwhelming. And then I would get online, and I found the Quizlet has flashcards online, and they have games. They even have an app for your phone that you can download and take practice questions, and all that was free. And so I just found all the free material that I could find, and I got all of that information, and I studied using that too. What else did I do? There was YouTube has lectures. It was like 2 hours worth of lecture, which is not like a long time because I've been in classes that last 3 hours at a time. But like, when you're just out of grad school, you just work, you come home, you want to chill out. But 2 hours of lecture on the DSM-5, that was very helpful for me. I went to the library. The library was like the best thing because you don't have the TV to distract you, you don't have your phone to distract you, you don't have people to distract you. Go to the library, get a study room, a private study room, and mark off, okay, for an hour I'm going to study this. For an hour I'm going to study this. And, break it down however it works best for you. But just having that alone time really worked well for me. What else? I also went to the library to use the DSM-5 to study because I didn't want to buy one right away. Again, they just cost like $150. It's expensive when you don't use it in your career and your job every day like that. So I guess if I do, or when I do start therapy and things like that, I will buy one eventually. But DSM-5. But then what really, really helped me out a lot though was what was it? Oh, YouTube. Again, YouTube helped me out a whole lot because I'm an audio visual kind of person. I have to hear things and see things like over and over again to learn it. So just hearing all of the lectures, hearing all of the theories were just the major part of it. So looking at those videos every day was really helpful. And then one of my friends sent me this link to this book that was so amazing. It had every single thing that you could even think of in this link. And I was like, oh man, but this is like probably 3 days before I was scheduled to take the exam is when he sent me the link. And I'm like, oh, I wish I would have had this from the beginning, because I tell you, it literally had everything for social work, and it was kind of like this would have been the only tool I would have needed to study. But when I went to take the test, now they tell you go drive by the site before you go to take the test. Go by the site, get familiar with it so that you're not late looking for it the morning of the exam. Or the day of the exam, see what the traffic's like, all that kind of stuff. So I did that the day before, a couple days before. Now, the day of the exam, I was confident. I had my little breakfast. I didn't do a lot of studying the night before because they tell you not to do that. I did look over some things, but I didn't harp on it. I just did, I had a peaceful morning. I ate breakfast. I didn't think too much about it. And my cousin called me when I was getting ready that morning, and it was like, oh my gosh, I need some me time. So I told him I couldn't talk because I started to get anxious. And so as I'm driving to the test site, I was like, oh my gosh, $350. What if I fail this test? I'm not going to be I'm not going to be able to deal with myself if I pass this test and waste this money. And, I'm going to have to wait 3 months, 6 months before I can take it again. I probably won't be motivated. And I just had all these negative thoughts. But then the craziest thing happened. This spider, of all things, was on the rear view mirror. And I really think that God sent that spider to snap me back into reality. And I was too focused on the spider to even think about the test. So I'm like, oh my gosh, the spider was taking all of my attention. So I'm like trying not to wreck, making sure that it doesn't get on me and things like that. So the spider really brought me back down. And I hate spiders, but I thank God for that distraction. So when I got there, I mean, this test, y'all, is serious business. It is really serious business. So when I got there, they tell you, dress in layers because the room may be cold and that kind of thing. So I had on, just a little shirt like this and then a small little track jacket. So when you get in there at my test site through Pearson VUE, and I don't know, if that's the only test site or proctor of the test, but when I got there, it was maybe like 5 other people there to take other exams like the NCLEX, the bachelor's level license exam, and things like that. And it was just like serious business. So all you could bring in there was your license and they give you a little locker to put your stuff in, but into the actual test room, all you could bring in was your license. And it was something else, maybe a pencil or no, the paper and the little board and paper, pen, erase board, dry erase board, and marker that they give you. But when you get there, they scan your palm, like your palm of your hand, like 3 times. They take your picture. They make you roll up your sleeves. They make you empty your pockets. Serious business. And they record you taking the test from their face on, from above, and I think even from behind. And it's recorded, like, audio while you're taking the exam. So it's like, oof. I guess people try to cheat or something. But it was serious business. So even when I was just sitting there looking at other people get their palms scanned and empty their pockets and things like that, even that brought me down from my anxiety, because I'm like, wow, this is serious business. And I really just couldn't believe that, that they were taking these kind of drastic measures for this exam. So when I went in, they give you 4 hours. I finished in like 3.5. I went through the exam and I marked my questions. If I wasn't sure, they tell you to mark an answer anyway and flag it so that you can go back and check it. So I went through the exam. I didn't get up for any breaks. I did stop a few times and put my head down and just breathe and got myself back together, because it's 170 questions and 20 don't count because they're like questions that may be on a future exam. Then it's 150 that actually count. So, I mean, just sitting there taking a test like that long, it was a lot. It was a lot. So, went through the exam. I probably flagged like 20-something questions to go back on. When I went back through those questions, I tried my best not to change like a lot of answers. I just tried to go through them. Don't change a lot of the answers because they say to go with your first instinct. So I tried not to change a lot of the ones that I flagged. I changed maybe 6 of them. I don't know what I got right and what I got wrong. But when I got to the end, they give you like this survey that you have to take before they show you your exam. When they showed the screen, I initially thought I failed because it said something, and I was like, oh no, I failed. But then I read on down the page, and it says you passed, and I was like, oh yay! I could not believe it. I wanted to cry. I was like, I could not believe I just passed this exam. I still can't believe I passed it, because it's like all of this just chaos about this exam, and I passed the thing on the first try. I was so excited. I could not believe it. But a lot of people don't pass on their first try. And don't get discouraged if you don't pass it on your first try. You just have to keep going. Some people do pay for a tutor, and nothing is wrong with that if you think you need that. Some people do take, buy the practice test from the actual proctor or from the NASW. Some people pay a lot of money for these things, but, I did take practice tests online for free. You just have to find them. Like you can find free materials to prepare for this test. So use it. Like use the internet to your advantage when taking this exam. But the actual exam itself, y'all, I studied so much material, it was ridiculous. I studied so much material, and literally, especially DSM-5, literally, y'all, nothing that I studied, theories, all this stuff, Erickson's stages of development, like all of that stuff, none of it was on the test. And I got on the test and I was like, really? I've been studying all this stuff and none of it is on there. Y'all, the test was, and I don't know if every test is the same, but my test was scenarios. What's the best thing to do for the client? What's the first thing to do for the client? What would you do next? That kind of thing. And you really have to read those questions. Those practice tests will really prepare you. So if I was going to pay for anything, my advice would be to pay for the practice exam. Although you can find a lot of them for free, like I did on the internet. But there are some that you can pay to, they'll time you like the actual test and that kind of thing. And if that's the kind of preparation you need and you feel like you want to pay for it, then go for it. But you know, my just taking the practice test, the free ones online, and all these little apps and flashcards and things, that prepared me. But you really have to read the question and understand what they are asking you. Because if you don't understand what they're asking, or if you read too much into the question, or you read a part that's not really relevant, but you make it relevant, you're going to miss questions and things like that. So you really have to understand what they're asking you for in the question. I mean, that's what it really boiled down to. What other advice can I give? I did end up taking my coat off. It was hot. But I did. Oh, they give you earplugs. I use those earplugs because any little noise will irritate me, and they really drowned out the sound. But yeah, I mean, if I can give you any more tips about the test, if you have any specific questions, just put it in the comment box and I'll answer them. Like, I'm here to help. So I had to get at least 90 right, and I had 114 right. So, you know, I guess that's good. But yeah, I mean, I'm licensed now. I have to work on getting my 3,000 hours and get supervision so that I can become independently licensed. As far as my career, I am a victim witness advocate at a law enforcement agency. I work with victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, assault and battery, just all kinds of victims. Go to court with them. I help them find resources in the community for counseling. I talk with them on the phone for hours if necessary. I meet up with them in person. So that's what I do. I've only been at that position for about 8 months now. Before that, I worked at a transitional housing facility for families that were homeless. I learned so much on that job. I was there for 4 years. I worked there full-time while I was in grad school. And my life was really changed there. I met a lot of people. I heard their stories. They introduced me to myself. I didn't realize a lot about myself and my life, but hearing their stories and being able to relate to them so much, they really introduced me to myself, and I'm grateful for that. And I have stories about my clients. If any of you would like to hear any of them, I'd be happy to share. But I still keep in contact with them. I mean, I learned so much at that place. I feel like I'm prepared to work anywhere. I mean, we dealt with every issue you can think of. Every issue you can think of. I'm just so grateful and so blessed to have been called to do this kind of work. I thank the Lord that He chose me to do this. I don't know what else I would do if I wasn't a social worker. If I can help you in any way, any questions, please let me know. If you want that link to that information I was telling you about earlier, that one link that my friend sent me a couple days before the exam, leave me an email and I'll send it to you. All right, y'all. Talk to you later. And good luck.